They built 96 houses on my land, not by accident, on purpose. I inherited 47 acres in Colorado from my grandfather, paid off, pristine, untouched. I hadn't visited in 3 years. When I finally drove up, I couldn't believe my eyes. Where my forest once stood, there was now an entire subdivision. Paved roads, streetlights, families moving into homes they'd each paid $185,000 for. The HOA president, a woman who had never worked an honest day in her life but wore a Rolex like a medal, told me I was a dead-beat squatter trying to scam hardworking families. Her lawyer had confirmed the land was abandoned, so adverse possession made it legally theirs. She'd already taken $16 million in pre-sales. What did I do? Nothing. I let them finish building, watched them landscape, paint, install pools. Then I walked into federal court with my grandfather's original 1971 deed. What would you do if someone built a neighborhood on your property? Drop your state below. Let's see where my land rights family is watching from. My name's Dakota Flint. Yeah, like the stone. I'm 47, structural engineer, divorced, driving a 2008 Silverado that burns a quart of oil every month. Nothing special about me, except one thing. My grandfather left me 47 acres of Colorado forest worth about $4. $2 million. William Flint bought that land in 1971 for $8,200 cash. Depression era guy. He kept every receipt in leather ledgers smelling of pipe tobacco and WD-40. When he died in 2019, he left me the property and in the deed tucked a note, "Don't let the bastards take what's yours." I hadn't visited for 3 years, divorce, kids in college, 70-hour work weeks, but I paid taxes religiously. $6,400 every April, never late, always documented. Email receipts stacked like armor. In August 2022, I finally drove up to scatter Grandpa's ashes, turned off Highway 36 onto the old fire road, and my stomach dropped. The pine forest was gone. In its place, 96 Mediterranean stucco homes with fake balconies and HOA in dated beige paint, a stone sign read Ridgeline Heights, a Whitmore luxury community. I checked my GPS 4 times. Same coordinates. This was my land. At the gatehouse, a security guard stopped me. Residents only. I own this property, I said, holding my phone with a photo of the deed. He smirked. Sure, buddy, turn around. Before I could argue, a white Range Rover pulled up. Cassandra Whitmore stepped out. Mid-50s, botoxed, permanently surprised expression, dressed in $800 white linen that probably cost more than my mortgage. She had the aura of someone who'd never been told no. "Problem, Ray?" she asked the guard, not even looking at me. "I own the development," I said. Her eyes finally scanned me. "Work boots, Carhartt jacket, calloused hands. How charming," she said sweetly. "Looking for construction work?" "I'm not looking for work. I'm the legal owner, my grandfather, William Flint." She waved her manicured hand. "Our title company ran a forensic search. The land was abandoned for over 3 years, which under Colorado law means nothing if taxes are paid. Adverse possession claim denied." I interrupted. Her smile sharpened. "That's adorable," she said. "You know just enough to be dangerous." She handed me a business card. "Brian Keir, our attorney. He'll explain why your claim is frivolous." I asked how many houses sold. "All 96, she said. Pre-construction sales totaled $16 million. Families move in by Thanksgiving. She said it like a threat. Then she did something that made my blood freeze. She snapped my license plate. "Just in case you decide to vandalize," she said. I drove home, hands shaking. That night, I spread Grandpa's documents across the kitchen table. 1971 deed, 47 years of tax receipts, survey maps. Cassandra had given me everything I needed to bury her. Monday, I called Brian Keir. His receptionist was professionally pleasant. "Mr. Keir anticipated your call. He's authorized a nuisance settlement, $15,000 if you sign a quitclaim deed by Friday, $15,000 for $4 million in land. I knew better. Tell him I'll see him in court. I said I needed a real lawyer. Lydia Chen, civil litigator, beat a railroad company in a Wyoming adverse possession case so badly they offered her a job to make her stop. Consultation, $500. I paid it. Her office smelled of old leather and lemon polish. She listened to my story, took immaculate handwritten notes. When I finished, she said, "Show me your tax receipts." Folder after folder of receipts, bank statements, county records. Every payment from 1971 onward. She flipped through them, barely hiding a smile. Colorado adverse possession requires 18 years of continuous hostile possession. She said, "You've paid taxes. Their claim is dead. You could stop construction, but let me suggest something." Crazy, let them finish. I stared. If you stop construction, the company declares bankruptcy. Litigation drags on for years. Families sue. Nightmare, let them finish. Then file for declaratory judgment. You own 96 completed houses. Fraud, trespass, unjust enrichment. You'll have it all. It was brutal. Cold, perfect. How much? $40-50K legal fees. But when we win, you'll own the houses outright. Sell them, rent them millions. I had $12,000 in savings. My Silverado needed a transmission. My daughter's tuition was due. I said, "I'll figure it out." "Don't contact Cassandra." Lydia warned, "Don't post online. Surprise is worth gold in property litigation." September bled into October. I drove past Ridgeline Heights twice a week. Took photos, documented construction. Cassandra saw me, called the sheriff. Deputy Torres came. "Sir, need your license." "I'm on a public road," I said. He left. I kept taking pictures. By November, the first families moved in. Halls blocked cul-de-sacs, kids on scooters, maple trees planted in yards. They weren't villains. They were dreamers. Thanksgiving week, Cassandra sent a certified letter. Stop trespassing or face harassment charges. Photo of my truck circled in red Sharpie. I showed it to Lydia. She laughed. They're documenting their own fraud. Every letter, photo, interaction proves they knew about your ownership. Then the real work began, digging into Cassandra Whitmore. Property records, corporate filings, financing sources. Whitmore Development LLC registered in Delaware, financed by Ridgeline Capital Group. Preston Whitmore, her husband, co-owner, had a history of fraud and construction lawsuits. Their plan was premeditated. They sold land they didn't own, but now all evidence was mine. Lydia smiled. "This isn't just civil trespass. It's criminal fraud, and we're ready. They're literally recording their own fraud," she said, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. "Every letter they mail, every photo they take, every single interaction. It all proves they knew there was a dispute and still kept building." "Great," I said dryly. "Doesn't feel great. Feels like I'm being hunted." "You are," she replied. "But here's what you're going to do. Nothing. Let them burn money on threats and paperwork. Let them keep making evidence. We'll file in January, right after the holidays when no one's paying attention." She pulled out a yellow legal pad. "In the meantime, I need everything you can dig up about Cassandra Whitmore. Property records, business filings, tax liens, anything public. I want to know who's bankrolling that development." So for the next 2 weeks, I basically became an undercover investigator. Being an engineer helps. You learn how to read survey maps, plats, and permit filings. I started with Boulder County's online system. Whitmore Development LLC was registered in Delaware. Instant red flag. People hide things behind Delaware corporations the way others hide cash in offshore accounts. Cassandra was listed as the sole managing member, but the financing traced back to Ridgeline Capital Group, a Denver investment firm. Digging further, I found Ridgeline had 3 partners, and one of them just happened to be Cassandra's husband. His name was Preston Whitmore, a developer with a history, sued twice for construction defects, once for investor fraud in a failed resort. All cases settled quietly, records sealed, classic pattern, which meant this wasn't Cassandra's solo scam. This was a family operation. Then I checked the county permits. The land was marked as formerly tax delinquent, acquired through an adverse possession claim filed in March 2022. But here's the thing about adverse possession. You can't just file a claim and start selling land. You have to win in court first, get a judgment, record it. Only then can you transfer property. They skipped that entire process, filed the claim, and immediately started selling lots like the judgment already existed. That's fraud, premeditated, documented fraud. I sent everything to Lydia through encrypted email. By now, I knew people like the Whitmores don't just play dirty. They play dangerous. Dakota, this is even better than I hoped. Preston has a pattern. If we can show he knew you owned the parcel and moved ahead anyway, we're talking criminal fraud, not just civil trespass. How do we prove that? I asked. Let me worry about that. You stay quiet. But staying quiet became harder when Cassandra escalated. Dates, times, what you saw, who you talked to Deputy Torres, Rick Paulson, anyone who witnessed their harassment, Lydia said. I pulled out my phone. I'd been logging everything since September. Smart. She nodded. Second, we need allies. Anyone in the community hurt by the Whitmores. Neighbors, former employees, contractors who didn't get paid. Make a list. I thought about Paulson's comment about the 6 Whitmore projects and complaints filed against neighboring owners. I know where to start. I said, third. Lydia leaned forward. This goes public, but not on Facebook. That's Cassandra's playground. I'm talking local news. I have a contact at Channel 9 Denver, investigative reporter Patricia Hughes. She's won 2 Emmys exposing slumlords and crooked officials. You want me on TV? I want us on TV. You, me, and every family in Ridgeline Heights who thought they were buying the American dream. Those 96 families, she reminded me, they're victims, not the enemy. When this is over, they'll keep their homes. Cassandra will be left with nothing but legal bills. She handed me a folder. Deposition schedule. Preston goes first next Thursday, Cassandra the week after. You need to be there. I want them to see your face when they're forced to tell the truth. I opened the folder, dates, locations, questions. It looked like a weapon of mass legal destruction. When this is done, I asked, how much will I owe you? Less than you think, she said with a smile. When we win, the court awards attorney fees. The Whitmores will pay all $60,000. I left her office at noon with a plan, and, for the first time since August, a sense that justice wasn't just a word. It was something built carefully, methodically, with receipts. Preston Whitmore's deposition was January 18th, 9:00 a.m. Glass, walled room, 14th floor, Denver. The Rockies glowed outside, indifferent. Preston arrived in a charcoal suit with Diane Kelso, a sharp attorney billing $800 an hour. He didn't look at me once. The court reporter swore him in. Lydia started soft. Name, address, occupation. Preston answered like a seasoned pro. Mr. Whitmore, do you recognize this email? Lydia slid the February 18th smoking gun across the table. I do. Did you write it? Yes. So you knew in February 2022 that Dakota Flint legally owned Old Mill Road? Diane leaned forward. Don't answer. You must, Lydia said. Discovery order. Preston shifted. I knew someone named Flint was listed in county records, but our title company advised the property was abandoned. Rocky Mountain Title Group. Lydia made a note. Preston's jaw tightened. He knew the title company would be next, and they could either back him up or throw him under the bus. 50 questions later, by noon, Preston was sweating, contradicting himself repeatedly. Lydia said, no further questions. He bolted. Diane Kelso lingered, muttering, "Your client should settle. Name a number." Lydia asked. $10 million. Plus, resign from corporate boards, dissolve Ridgeline Capital, personally finance the transfer of all 96 homes to current residents, and a written apology. He'll never agree, then trial, and I'll bring Channel 9. 2 days later, escalation. Tyler, my 23-year-old son, called at 6:00 p.m., shaking. A man in a suit asked his manager about me. Thomas Brennan, Apex Investigations. He gave us a card. Lydia confirmed it. Textbook intimidation, witness tampering. January 23rd, IRS audit notice arrived. Harassment, pure and simple. Lydia said, "If we subpoena Apex records, we can prove the Whitmores filed a false report." Another felony. They're panicking, making mistakes. January 25th, Ridgeline Heights sales contracts leaked. All 96 homes, buyers paid $450K, $530K. Headlines screamed, "Luxury developer sold homes on stolen property. Buyers may lose everything." Homeowners called in panic. Sarah Chen cried, "Mr. Flint, I used all my savings for number 67. My title insurance won't cover the claim." I explained, "You'll keep your homes. I'm stopping the people who stole from both of us. The developer pays. If they can't, we'll sort it." Channel 9 interview, January 30th, 2:00 p.m. My house. Patricia Hughes arrived with cameraman Steve. Lights enough for a Marvel set. Interview lasted 90 minutes. Grandpa's ledgers, Preston's email, the Facebook smear, families trapped. We covered it all. Segment aired February 2nd at 6:00 p.m., 1 week before trial. Aerials of Ridgeline Heights, interview clips, deeds, tax receipts, county permits, even evidence of Whitmore donations to fast-track approvals. My statement: I'm not trying to hurt the families. They're victims too. But if we let the Whitmores get away with this, what's the point of property rights, laws? A phone blew up. Emma called, crying proud tears. Marcus texted, "You're a folk hero. Even my boss. Come back Monday. Proud of you." February 4th, 2 days after broadcast, I returned from shopping. Front door ajar, heart hammering. Called 911. Deputy Torres arrived with backup. Inside a single sheet, drop it or lose everything. Neighbor Carol confirmed a black Audi Colorado plate KLM 4892, Amos Brennan's PI. Torres bagged it as evidence. February 6th, Lydia called. Rocky Mountain title flipped. Admitted knowing the adverse possession claim was shaky. Approved anyway for $45K under the table. Emails, payments, calls, all ours. Whitmore's attorney begged for a settlement. I said, "See you in court." Trial day, February 9th. Same suit, drove to Boulder with Emma. Courtroom 3C packed, 40-plus families present. Judge Ramirez, "This is a court of law, not a circus." Lydia's opening, theft through LLC, forged documents, carefully planned, knowing landowner, built anyway, picked wrong victim. Evidence, Preston's email, Grandpa's ledgers, IRS complaints, PI harassment. Defense tried arguing honest mistakes, an email out of context. Judge Ramirez didn't buy it. Trial lasted 7 hours. Lydia deposed witnesses, title company admitting bribes, Rick Paulson on false complaints, Deputy Torres on harassment. Preston crumbled in 40 minutes. Cassandra refused to testify. Next day, ruling, full title to all 47 acres, including 96 houses. $4. $2 million in damages. Lydia's legal fees $73K. Case referred for federal prosecution. Ridgeline Capital dissolved. Cassandra and Preston's assets auctioned. Preston indicted on 6 federal fraud charges. The title company lost its license. Brian Kemper resigned from his law firm to avoid disgrace. But the ruling raised a new question. What about the 96 families who'd bought homes on my land? I could have forced them out, sold the houses myself, pocketed another $16 million. The law allowed it, many expected it, but I didn't want to do that. On March 15th, I called a town hall at Ridgeline Heights. All 96 families showed up, cramming into the unfinished clubhouse Cassandra had promised but never built. Sarah Chen stood front and center, holding her daughter's hand. The Rodriguez couple sat near the back, faces tight with fear. These weren't villains. They were teachers, nurses, electricians, people who had saved for years to buy a piece of the American dream. I stood at the front, Lydia beside me. I know you're scared. I started. You bought your homes in good faith. You did nothing wrong. I'm not here to punish you for someone else's crime. The room was so quiet you could hear snow melting on the roof. Here's what I'm proposing. I'm transferring ownership of all 96 homes to the Ridgeline Heights Community Trust, a nonprofit we're establishing today. Each family will own their home through the trust at the price you originally paid. No mortgages, no interest, just what you've already invested. If you've paid $485,000, you owe nothing more. If you have payments left, you finish them to the trust at zero interest. Someone gasped. Sarah Chen began to cry. The trust will use those funds to maintain roads, cover property taxes, and establish a scholarship fund for kids in this community. My grandfather believed land was about legacy, not profit. This is his legacy. Applause started slowly, then swelled like a thunderstorm. Hugs, tears, shouts of gratitude filled the room. Mr. Rodriguez came up and shook my hand so hard I thought my shoulder would dislocate. You're a good man, he said. Your grandfather raised you right. In September, we launched the William Flint Memorial Scholarship, $10,000 annually for a Colorado student studying engineering, forestry, or environmental science. Emma helped set it up. She said Grandpa would have loved that his ledgers, full of timber sale records, were now funding someone's education. I kept 5 acres at the north end, where Grandpa's old-growth pines still stood. Built a small cabin, 2 bedrooms, nothing fancy. Sold my house in town and moved in last October. Every morning, I wake to the smell of pine and coffee, watch deer graze outside, hear Tyler laughing on the weekends. Emma brings her boyfriend, naturally a law student. Even Jennifer, my ex-wife, stopped by with her new husband, saying she was proud. Strange but good. Patricia Hughes did a follow-up in December, From Property Theft to Community Triumph, How One Man Turned Injustice into Justice. She won her 3rd Emmy for it. Last week, Sarah Chen's daughter drew me a picture, a crayon house with a stick figure labeled Mr. Dakota holding a giant deed. It's on my fridge, held by a Colorado-shaped magnet. I think about Grandpa's note sometimes. Don't let the bastards take what's yours. He was right. But what's mine isn't just land or money. It's knowing 96 families sleep safely because I didn't quit. It's a scholarship that helps a kid like me once was. Broke, stubborn, just trying to build something. That's justice, real justice, the kind that heals. So here's my question for you. Have you ever faced an HOA nightmare, a property dispute, or someone who thought money made them untouchable? Drop your story in the comments. Let's build a library of how ordinary people beat corrupt systems. If this story mattered to you, if it reminded you that good people can still win, hit subscribe. I've got more stories like this. Stories about the little guy outsmarting the machine. Stories with receipts. Next week, City Council denied my business permit. So I found the bylaw that made me untouchable. See you then, and remember, keep your receipts. All of them.